Warning! This video is about fixing a blocked toilet. No fun was had in the making of this video.
Yesterday was the water maker, which evidently didn't get fixed. Today,
I woke up this morning and I had my day planned out, and then that ended with me embarrassingly blocking one toilet, and as if that wasn't bad enough, then Nathan promptly blocked his toilet. So I've got two blocked toilets to deal with. So what's happening when we flush this toilet is the water just circulates around and around. We're going to be disconnecting this white pipe from this point over here, which is where the joker valve is located. Last time the problem that I encountered was the waste in that pipe actually ran along the underside of the pipe and through this hole in the hull, which meant then I had dirty waste in the bilge which I had to clean out, which was yet another job. Not a lot, but it's just something you want to try and avoid. So I've shoved a cloth in there just to try and block that hole. I'm going to tidy it up a bit more with that cloth, make sure that's well and truly blocked, and then I'm going to disconnect the pipe. What I've typically done is I've loosened the Jubilee clips over here, and I've managed to get a bag underneath the two parts here, because there's going to be waste that drains out of this pipe, and any waste that's in the toilet bowl will come out of this valve over here as well at the same time. So put as much absorbent cloth as you can in the surrounding areas to catch any waste water, and then try and get these two pipes covered by a plastic bag, and the contents of those will then drain out and be trapped. You won't get it all over the floor then. From here the pipe goes into that hole behind the solid white cabinet, and it goes all the way up into a one-way valve there, which I've got to also disconnect. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to feed this pipe up through that hole and extract it out at the top here. But one thing I don't want to happen is any other waste and so forth coming out the bottom of this pipe as I do it, because that's going to end up behind this fiberglass panel here, and obviously that is going to smell. Take one of these Jubilee clips off, and I slide a plastic bag over the end of this pipe. And the other thing I do is you need to be able to pull this pipe back through this hole when you reinstall it. So I'm going to pull through a little drawstring at the same time, just so I can guide this pipe back through when we need it to come back out again once we've cleaned it out. So that can be tied onto that Jubilee clip over there, and we just screw that closed. Oh, shit. No, you don't want to be doing that. I've just leant against the button to flush the toilet, which is highly annoying. Particularly as I've managed to keep this pretty clean all this time. Right, so that's ready to go. Right, so next stage is doing the work inside this panel over here. Unfortunately I can't video that, but again I'm going to disconnect those Jubilee clips, and I'm going to bag the end of the pipe hanging down, the grey pipe, and trap all the waste as it comes out of that pipe. Shouldn't be too much, hopefully. Right, so the white pipe is successfully disconnected. I managed to, obviously there's no fluid that's going to come out of the top of that white pipe because it's actually drained out the bottom already. The one-way valve on the grey pipe going up to the holding tank, that seems to work. Either that or it's failed entirely and all the fluid has drained out the bottom here. So what I've got at the moment is a plastic bag around the end of the grey pipe in here, which is also covering the one-way valve. Now I'm going to pull off the one-way valve in the bag, and any fluid that runs out of that grey pipe will then be caught in the bag, and that is the idea, at least. Here comes the valve and the waste from that pipe. Put that on the floor here, and we're just going to put another bag over that pipe to catch any waste that may decide to drip out of there. So this is the white pipe now, That's going to come out of here. And I'm just going to pull the drawstring through. So that's good. That's ready to go. Just going to unscrew that. What we've done is we've taken the hose out that comes out the back of the toilet because we've seen the buildup of calcium that we've had in one of the one-way valves, and as you can see down that pipe there, that is clogged up. That's gone solid. There's a tiny hole, probably 50% of the size it should be. Okay, I'm busy videoing, so hold on a sec. So this is the one-way valve. That's the end that goes up to the holding tank, and this is the end that goes to the toilet. So inside here it was a little bit crusty. I've cleaned that out, but what we actually need to do is take this valve apart, and I'll show you what's inside this. So that's inside the one-way valve. It looks sort of grey in colour there. What that is actually the sort of calcium buildup on that valve, which has made that valve rigid now. It's actually a rubber valve, but it's hard. So we need to take this little rubber piece out, clean off all this buildup, and then reinstall it. So I'm going to do that now, and once that's done I'm going to show you how that looks. Right, so this is the clean valve now. We've got all the buildup off that valve. It's nice and clean, and that's ready to be reinstalled. The housing that sits in has also been cleaned. So that's essentially a one-way valve,
How it should
and
look.
it stops, yeah, and how it should look without all that calcium buildup in it. Right, so we've cleaned that one-way valve, and I've reconnected that onto, well, I'm going to reconnect it onto the white pipe, and then I'm going to tie on that little mouse line just to pull this pipe back through and out the hole at the bottom there, and then we're going to reconnect everything back up again. So for the first bit, I'm just going to be putting the Jubilee clips back on these pipes. Right, so this here is the joker valve. This allows the waste to exit or enter through there and exit out the back. And then once it's in that white pipe, it can't run back into the system because this little valve closes up automatically. So this is probably one of the most essential parts to have a few spares of on board. So get yourself some of these if you can, because these do tear, and then what happens is the waste in the pipe will run back into your toilet, and your toilet bowl will never be fully empty. So this is a critical bit of kit, so make sure you get one of those. So joker valve has been cleaned, and we're ready to install that again. It does only go back on in a specific position, I believe. So if you try and do it like that, the screw holes won't line up. So just make sure you've got it in the right direction or orientation. Right, so this pipe is now ready to be connected back on again to the joker valve connection over there. It's got two Jubilee clips on. So we slide that over the pipe, make sure it's well on, and then we tighten up the Jubilee clips. So with the Jubilee clips, always make sure that I don't have the screws in exactly the same position in terms of being in alignment, just to get a better seal. I'll offset the one from the other, and I think that, I'm not 100% sure, but I think that will probably give you a better chance of sealing any leaks in this pipe. Right, so the connection at the bottom of the toilet now is done. The next stage is to connect the two pipes inside this little panel here. This is where the other one-way valve connected to the large grey pipe coming out of the holding tank. So unfortunately I can't film that, but basically it's a couple of Jubilee clips that need to be tightened up once I've put the valve into the grey pipe, and then hopefully the toilet will be working again. What we want to do is just test that the system still works, and then we check for leaks as well. Filling up with a bit of water. Let's try and flush it now. And that is working really well.
If you like our videos and would like to support us, please take a look at our Patreon page. The link is in the text below. Your support will help us buy better recording and editing equipment, and will also help us continue on our adventure.
Move along to the song, singing in your soul. Feel the beat, clap your hands, let